and it feels like I seamlessly transition into another realm.
Wow. And again, you're because you just have a very calm way of speaking, but I'm imagining in the moment you are like true panic mode, right? I mean, you are like you can't figure it out. You're full spiral.
Like, what just happened? Like, I was kind of like, where am I? But also, like, I know where I am because I've been here before. That's the thing, too. I was like, I've been here before. I know this place. And eventually, I start to become aware of a feminine presence. And again, no body, can't see her, but I feel her very distinctly. And she's very loving and she's very, like, big. She eventually guides my energy or my attention to my left. And I noticed that there's like a masculine energy, and he's not as pleasant of an energy.
Static in the mind, but the signal's clear. Close both eyes and you disappear. Slide through the seams and reality screen. Wake up inside of an in-between. I'm not here to preach a story you can't feel.
All right, this one is for the ladies, sort of. Not really, actually. It's actually not. I mean, it's for anyone. It's a fascinating story. I was really excited when Gina reached out because it's not something that I've heard a lot about, and it's absolutely something I think we should be talking about because there is once a month, right, where all the lovely ladies in our life we all know and love and cherish go through something, a menstrual cycle, and Native American culture says that this is your time where you are a little more connected to spirit, right? Your intuition is enhanced. And so it's called a moon lodge. It's called a vision quest. Um, and she tells us about her experience with that. And it's fascinating. I mean, it's a really, really cool story. So it's all about spending time with yourself, stepping away from technology and artificial light, and just getting to know your body. And I don't know. I think as we're all on this mission to kind of understand why we're here, and especially on this channel, we love OBEs and astral projection and lucid dreaming. And I think it's interesting that I didn't know that women once a month could possibly, like, you could be 10 times more likely to have this experience. I didn't know that. So obviously I can't try it, but I am, I love to throw this kind of information out there. And so I would love to hear from the ladies who watch the show if they knew this, if this is the first time hearing about it, if they're going to try it. But really, really cool. I thought Gina's story was awesome. If you have someone else you want me to interview, please let me know down below. It is how I find out about most of my guests here. If you got anything from it, leave me a like or a comment. Like I said, let me know if you've heard about this before or haven't heard about this before. And if you guys want to go the extra mile, I do have a membership option. You can click join. We're building a Discord that is, I think, a pretty special space for ideas and books, resources, OBE. We call the OBE lab. There's techniques. And it's just a place where we can all get together and share ideas and not feel insane for all the experiences that we all have. So if that sounds interesting, I would love to see you in there. And yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the episode. So we're kind of just going to dive into it. I'm going to put the ball in your court in that wherever you feel like there's context that needs to be had, like if you feel like you need to tell your story prior to make sense to kind of the lead up of your OBE. I know it's not quite an OBE. It's like a mix of a couple of
Yeah, I
different
don't
things
know how
here,
to
but
label
and what
it,
you've learned from
but
it.
I think it's worth sharing. Because I was just telling you, like, I've been listening to so many of these OBE stories for a while now, like a couple years. And I just noticed that there hasn't been a story of somebody who had a similar catalyst. So I've been wanting to share it just so people, specifically women, can at least know that this is something they can try. But I want to preface this all by saying that this isn't my teaching. This is something I learned about while studying Native American culture. And so I just want to give credit where credit is due. I just think there's so much we can learn from these cultures who are so in tune with nature and the earth, and they just have this sense of balance. I just really admire like indigenous wisdom. So I just wanted to say that before I start. Yeah, so I was 19 at the time. I was taking, like I said, a course in Native American Studies at UMass Amherst, and we were learning about different ceremonies that were widespread in the Americas. And one that really piqued my attention was something called Moontime Lodge or Moon Lodge. And so many Native societies practice like a similar thing. So they all have their own variations and whatnot. But basically, the premise behind this practice is that they believed that women and the earth's waters are governed by Grandmother Moon. And they believed that women were spiritually powerful during menstruation. Um, so menstruating women were encouraged to take a break out of their daily life and go basically like retreat to a lodge known as a moon lodge. And some of them were communal, some of them were solitary. Um, and basically they were encouraged to just like relax, tap into their intuition, and I've also read like specifically to dream. And I think there is science behind um, menstruating women are more likely to have vivid dreams or lucid dreams and stuff like that. So there's like now science behind it, but it's interesting because they were always in touch with that reality. So yeah, they were encouraged to tap into their intuition, maybe have a vision quest. That's the terminology that they use. And just a little sidebar, I since having this experience, I do wonder if like a vision quest is synonymous for maybe an OBE or something like that, because it's a term you hear a lot in Native American culture. So, and up until I started hearing about out of body experiences, I was just like, I had a vision quest, you know what I mean, to myself, because I didn't tell anybody until recently. I was like, I had a full blown vision quest. Like who knew that that was even possible? So I didn't have the terminology for it. Like I did, but also just I think an OBE might be also appropriate for this experience.
It sounds way cooler to say Vision Quest,
I
though.
know, doesn't
Way
it?
cooler.
It is what it felt like too. So, yeah, as I was saying, they were encouraged to like tap into their dreams, and apparently like the communities really put a lot of weight behind the whatever woman would dream about if it felt important during this time. Like it was really respected um, and acknowledged. So, one of the other reasons why this piqued my attention or my interest is because I do struggle with menstruation. I do suspect I have something called endometriosis. It's common. It runs in my family. It's super painful, super debilitating, but it's really difficult to get a diagnosis. And if you do get a diagnosis, like there's not much they can do. But anyway, that's a personal reason why it interested me. And so I was like, I want to try something like that. Oh, and also while I was reading about this on my own, I came across the idea that maybe the reason why so many modern women struggle with menstruation, whether it's PMS, PMDD, fibroids, endometriosis, is maybe because we're not honoring our bodies. Like we tend to just like dismiss the discomfort and just like go about our lives. And maybe our bodies are really just like asking us to do something like this. Have a day where you're just relaxing and tapping into your body and your intuition and all and your dreams and stuff like that. So I was like, I want to try something like this and maybe it will affect I want to see how it affects my pain. And that was it. That was my only expectation. Like I was barely even focused on the idea that I could have like a spiritual experience or a
Hmm.
vision quest, nothing like that. Yeah, I was just like super curious if this would affect me in a positive way. So during one of my periods, on the first day, I decided to do something. So I found advice online that was basically like it's better to do it in nature, like I think anything is really, but you can do it at home. But you really want to isolate. You want to avoid being able to hear anybody speaking or see anybody, even if it's outside the window. So it's kind of like a somewhat of a sensory deprivation type of practice, but not really. Um, and you want to avoid artificial light. You want to avoid technology and all this. So it's also like a dopamine detox when you think about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, which I think is really important for any type of practice like
Gosh,
this. Like
for
this is
anyone right now, it's important. Like, just to be honest, we all are addicted to dopamine.
no, exactly. And I know you had a guest, Nathaniel Solis. He talks a lot about the dopamine detox, and I'm like that, and that's why I think this is relevant to men too. It's like I know this was like very specific to women, but the dopamine detox of the nature of this practice was really kind of about that. Um, so yeah, that's what I did. It was a beautiful day. I remember I was just like sitting on my floor all day so I can have my shades open, get some natural light. I didn't do any crazy meditation. I was just journaling, I was reading, I was playing my acoustic guitar. So it wasn't a super rigorous practice. Yeah, like not sitting in lotus pose, like trying so hard to have an experience. I was just monitoring my body. I was like tapping into my body and like trying to just feel my body for once, you know what I mean? And like listen to it. And so, to my surprise, I did have a pretty pain-free period, and that's pretty rare for me. I want to say it does happen sometimes. Like I will have like a lucky month every now and again, and I know how to manage it. Um, but so I just don't like if any women are listening, I don't want you to get your hopes up and maybe like I don't want you to neglect your Advil or what. If you're prone to having a full-blown episode and hospital visits, like I don't want you to think you're just gonna have such an easy time. Just wanted to say that. But anyway, to my surprise, it was pain, mostly pain-free, pleasant, beautiful day. But so yeah, my experience didn't start until I went to bed that night.
So can I pause you for a second?
Yep.
So, so you, or I guess let me backtrack. Is it known to do these on day one typically, or
So that's that would be my guess that it's better to do it on day one just because it's like, and I think most women can relate to this. It's like day one is like usually the most painful, but it also might mean that's the most powerful. You know what I mean? But I
okay,
think try it whenever you can. Like, uh, what's the worst that's going to happen? You know what I mean? You get a relaxing day. Like, even if it's day three, because I understand it's really difficult to plan around. Um, I I'm open. I think I've tried it on day. I've done it after this first one, and I have had like lucid dreams specifically
wow,
every time I've done this actually. And I do have I've been getting into lucid dreaming a lot the past over a year now. And it's pretty reliable anytime I like isolate myself. But day one I think is the best bet. That's just my
okay.
guess.
And then, but beyond that, there wasn't really any like, you didn't do any specific ritual. Like you said, you didn't sit in a
No.
pose. You just kind of set in the intention to be with yourself,
Yep.
check in with your body.
Mm-hmm.
You got rid of all distractions, your phone, um, artificial light, that sort of thing, and you just kind of spent time with yourself. That was
Yes.
really it for the most part. Okay.
Exactly. And that's why I feel like compelled to tell this story too, is like because it wasn't anything crazy. Like it was, I mean, in some ways it's a little extreme, not extreme, but it it's difficult to do this. You know what I mean? It's difficult to take the day. Like most people have something to do every day, even if it's a phone call. You know what I mean? So like things really have to align that day for you. And you'd be surprised how, because again, this happened when I was 19 and I'm 35 now. I've only found like a few times where I'm like, okay, I can definitely go fully in this. Um, but yeah.
Okay. I like it. Okay, so you spent all day with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking like 8 a.m. to nighttime? Are we talking like noon
Yeah.
to nighttime?
Yep. No, all day. Like I didn't
Wow.
see a soul or hear anybody. Um, yeah, I woke up with it with my period. So I
Mhm.
was like, today is the day. I have nothing to do. And it was spontaneous. I wasn't like planning. I didn't plan for this ahead of time. Like it was a seed that was planted while I was taking this course. So I was like, if and when, this things align, I'll do it. And I was like, I
Mhm.
have no excuse today. Like I have nothing to do. Um,
Okay, so worked out, and then you get all the way to the end.
I get all
You
the way
went
to
to
the end.
sleep.
I go to sleep, and basically what happens, I'm drifting off, and it feels like I seamlessly transition into another realm. And it felt like my consciousness was one moment in my bed falling asleep in the next moment in this different realm. And it was like a beautiful, like it had like a certain energy to it. Like it felt like I like bloomed in, like that's what it felt like. I felt like I bloomed into this different realm.
Have you
And
had anything like this prior? Like, did you have
no,
any? Oh, wow.
no, I've
Okay.
never had a dream where I was like without a body. You know what I mean? Where like I've
Hmm.
had weird dreams before. I'm like in somebody else's body or something. You know what I mean? But like there's,
Sure. Have you
but
taken psychedelics or anything prior to this? Or like,
I
have you
sure
experienced
have.
a state? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it was something. Yeah. So I had experimented with LSD, mushrooms, and my first LSD experience was like I felt like I understood what the Buddha was talking about when he was
Yeah. Yeah.
talking about enlightenment. I was like, oh my, I like it. There was a similarity for sure. Like the energy that I felt inside of myself during that first, it was like heaven. Like my very first, my second one was a different story, but
The reason I bring that up is if you've had those kind of mind altering experiences through a substance, I think it does offer a nice benchmark, right? For like when you have something like this, like where you go, oh, because you if you've never had a state change like that, it's hard to like compare it to anything. And I often, not that it validates it more, but it's like like you're saying, it's like, whoa, you've had some of those experiences, you know what that's like, and then even to have this is like just
es-
as intense, right? But just
especially
going to
sober,
sleep.
especially sober, you
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I understand like some people might be like, oh, you were sleeping and having a dream. But when I tell you like, it's even different for me than like a lucid dream because like in lucid dreams, I'm usually like going about doing something caught up in the drama of the dream. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm in a dream. This was like, there was nothing in between like me consciously falling asleep to suddenly being like, so when I woke up into this other realm, it was like I was just in my bed and now I'm here. That's like crazy. So I felt like I had no, I don't want to say no ego, but I was a very like raw and like basic form of myself, but my personality was still somewhat online. And so I was able to be like almost like in my head, that wasn't in my consciousness. I was like, what the, like, what just happened? Like, where am I was kind of like, where am I? But
Hmm.
also at the same time, I was feeling like this peace and love and like infinite freedom because I had no body. If I didn't already just say that, it was white, infinite, no body. I felt like I was just like dispersed in this like white realm of consciousness. And so I was like, this is amazing, but also, where am I? But also, like, I know where I am because I've been here before. That's the thing, too. I was like, I've been here before. I know this place. But also, it felt like home and it felt so familiar. And it was like almost like, oh, finally I'm back. But it's also like, it's not like I had explicit memory of when and how and, like other experiences of being here. But like, I know that I've been here before. And I was kind of like, oh, obviously, like, oh, I'm like so relieved that this place actually like really does exist because like everybody hopes there's like something, that you're not always confined to your body or whatever. If you believe in heaven or if you believe in the in between, I don't know what you believe, but it was like something that was valid. It was just validating. I was like, oh, like I'm of two minds always. I'm like such a skeptical person and I'm always like haunted by my interests of things that like you can't necessarily prove. So I'm always just like fighting with myself up there. But yeah, I was just like, oh, thank God this is like a place. This is a place that I can hopefully go back to one day.
Yeah.
But
How cool. Okay.
that's how I felt during my first acid trip. Like I felt this sense of like, oh, I'm but mind you, it wasn't an out of body experience. I was in my body, but I was like, oh, this is a feeling like that I know,
Hmm.
like I remember somehow, you know?
Yeah. 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 My wife and I, when we took shrooms together, it was like, I remember I'd taken it a couple times prior to that with her. But for her, I remember it was like same kind of moment. She was like, whoa. It was just, it just takes you back to, that's kind of hard to put into words, to be honest. You just kind of have to experience it.
It
But,
feels kind of
um,
childlike. Like you feel
mhm.
like maybe like I was thinking maybe I felt this way as a child too, like where, some people say we're more in touch with, the spiritual side of things when we're younger, but then you like forget and you get jaded and you're just like things pile on.
Yeah, it feels like it removes the heaviness, right?
Hmm.
You don't even realize how heavy your thoughts are day to day, and it removes that. And for once, or at least you get like this quick little break of like, oh, this is what it feels like just to be. Maybe you're just in the moment. Maybe that's like
Absolutely.
part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in this, you bloomed into this white
Bloom.
consciousness space. Tell me what happens next.
So I'm like hanging out there. Mind you, it feels kind of timeless as well. I'm just like, there's no time, no body, no physicality, nothing but peace and like love and freedom. Um, and eventually I start to become aware of a feminine presence. And again, no body, can't see her, but I feel her very distinctly. And she's very loving and she's very like big. Um, And it felt, again, she felt so familiar. And I was just like, without thinking, I was like, oh my God, like in my head, these are just thoughts that didn't necessarily have words. But I was like, oh, there you are. Like, so good to see you. It felt like a reunion. And she was returning that sense of love and happiness and everything. So that was exciting. But it was starting to get a little bit more textured. You know what I mean? I feel like when I first got there, it was just like oneness and it was just like me, but everything. I don't know how to explain it. But so it gets textured. There's now like me and then her, and we're like enjoying um the reunion.
What did she
And
look like?
no, she didn't look like anything.
Oh,
The
okay. Okay.
feeling. It was
Oh,
just a
interesting. Okay.
feeling. I know.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
very just like
That's kind of cool though.
energy.
I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it. Okay.
No, she didn't have, yeah, nothing like that. But again, very distinct, her energy. And she eventually guides my energy or my attention to my left. And I notice that there's like a masculine energy, and he's not as pleasant of an energy. And he's smaller than her. Like, it's weird because they're like, I'm using words that would describe like physical things, but I'm describing like the energy and the feeling, if that makes any sense. He felt heavy, like he was giving off a very heavy energy. And I was just kind of like, I'm gonna like not pay attention to that right now. I'm just gonna like hang out with her over here. And she was like, no, she's like gently guiding my attention back. And I'm just like, it went back and forth at least a few times. I'm like looking at him. I'm like, no. And this is like one of my personality traits that I think came through in this experience is like avoidance. I could be very avoidant. Um, and so she's like, no, you gotta like look over here. And he's very sorry about something. He's also trying to get my attention. And I was confused though. Like there was like a block where I couldn't understand what he was sorry about. Like I tried to think about it, but probably not that hard. Cause again, I'm like super avoidant. I was like, no, it's okay. Like moving on.
Like bad energy. I'm not feeling that.
Yeah, exactly. I was just so immersed in like the good, what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And she's still trying to like get my attention over here. And he's like, and he's like super apologetic. It was almost like it was just too much. And it was like he was like self-flagellating in a way, like not like please forgive me. It was like do what you want. It was like no words were said, but the energy was like kind of like if you want revenge, if you want to do this, if you want to do that. I was like I
Punch me in
don't.
the face, please. Like hit
Yeah,
me.
it was
Like
literally like that. I was like I don't. He just needed to be absolved of something, no matter what it took. And again, I couldn't really go there with him, but I was like, I don't want to do anything. Just I don't want to do anything to you. I'm like, I'm good. You know what I mean? And then finally but again, like I had a block up. Like I wasn't really looking into what he was even trying to communicate. I could just feel his energy, if that makes sense. And so she's like, all right, but like, do you forgive him? And I was like, yeah, if that's what gets him out of here sooner than later. Like but so that's not real forgiveness, right? That's just like
mhm.
like avoidance. And like I do consider myself like a forgiving person. Like I think I am at least, but I don't know if you can like forgive. I don't know what to this day, I actually don't know what to make of that energy besides maybe my own, because there's not one masculine presence in my life who I can think of that is. Um, but I guess I do like on my spiritual exploration, I guess, like I've always struggled with the concept of um maybe like an overbearing masculine influence, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
whether it's patriarchal religion or stuff like that. I think he may have personified like something a little bit. It could have been my inner masculine for all you know what I mean? Like I think at the end of the day, like as above, so below, like as within, so without, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like it could have been me. So
Yeah. Gosh, it could be so many things. It could have been someone who really hurt you in the past and hurt you like to the point where you knew subconsciously, or you knew deep down that if you open that box again, it could bring back things that you don't want to experience
It
anymore. It
could
could be
it could
that.
have it could have easily been that too. Again, I can't think of anything like, you know, anyone in
Could have been
particular.
lifetimes ago, as far as we know,
Would
right?
have
Like
been
you just,
lifetimes ago. That's also
yeah.
a very valid possibility. Um, so she's like, "Do you forgive him?" I'm like, again, being avoidant, and she like lets out this like very compassionate sigh of disappointment. She's just like, because she knew me. She knew me. She was like, of course, like she like it basically felt like I brought her up here or wherever I was, and she's like, and she's not even like she's enjoying herself, that's for sure, but she's not she's not doing any like it felt like that's why I'm like the vision quest aspect. It felt like something was supposed to be solved or resolved. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I guess that could be
Hmm.
true of like OBEs too, like you're always facing like a fear or something like that, or like inner tension of some sort. Um, but yeah, she's like, "Ugh, this girl." And in that moment, I came tumbling down to my dream body. So like physical, like not physical, but you know what I mean, like
Hmm.
dream physical. I like
Hmm.
plummet to earth or like the physical dream plane. I know it's like an oxymoron, but you know what I mean. I'm like
I
in a
got you.
different layer of this
Yeah. Yeah. You're
experience
not
now.
like back in your room officially, but you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
And so And it was, like, funny to me, and mind you, I'm still, like, euphoric from this energy because it just wouldn't leave me. Like, I was just like, "Oh, that was amazing." Like, I'm like I remember just, like, getting up off the ground, and I'm like, "Oh, that was funny." I'm like, "That was so dramatic." And I'm just standing there, and, like, I notice her presence again, and she's still invisible at this point. And she's like, "All right, so" she guides me to drink this potion, and it's, like, on a little table. She's like, "All right, drink that." I'm like, "All right, anything you say." And she's like, "All right, so you're gonna die by the end of this journey." And she was like, "But your goal is to be, um, at peace at the moment of death." And what was weird is, like, most of this was telepathically everything has been telepathically communicated, but, she used she didn't not with her voice, but the words verbatim were internal chaos. That's how you're gonna die, or at least that's how the journey is gonna go. Like, internal chaos is what you're about to experience. But I wasn't feeling that at the moment. I was like so when she told me I was gonna die, I was like, "Oh, so I'm just gonna go back up there and cool, like, I can't wait."
Did you feel any different after you drink that potion? Whatever she had you drink? Do you remember feeling different, or
Like, it took a minute, or I don't know, like, in dream time or whatever. Um, I think the potion was, like, symbolic for, like, like, falling into amnesia and then thus experiencing internal chaos, if that makes any sense. It was
mm-hmm.
symbolic.
Okay.
And and I'm like arrogant at this point. I'm like, I'm at, I was like, I'll easily be at peace at the moment of death because I just experienced this like beautiful realm. And not that I know for sure that that's like the afterlife or part of the afterlife or like whatever. But that was kind of my understanding. I was like, oh, that's, I can do that. I can be without a body. I just experienced that. And she was like, all right, so go off now. She was like, why don't she, and she suggested like, why don't you go like visit some people, enjoy your life. And I'm like, all right, cool. See you soon, I hope. And so this in the middle part, this is when it feels like a normal dream almost, where it's just like you're in and out of consciousness, like you're getting caught up in whatever's happening. Yeah. It's a regular dream in the middle of this. So again, like like the layers were just so distinct. So I'm like in my dream, like in amnesia, and I remember I was visiting my childhood best friend at her house. We were in her childhood room, and she's like, "Hey, G, don't you have a flight to catch?" And I was like, shit, I do have a flight to catch and I'm gonna be dying soon. Like if like I remembered that that was like it was like a mission. Like I had to be at peace at the moment of death. And so I started to spiral and experience like intense anxiety. And I was like, I don't want to die on the plane. I don't want to like having like a little inkling of anxiety caused it to like spiral out of control because I was like, you know how they say like the only thing to fear is fear itself? But sometimes that doesn't help when you're experiencing anxiety because you're like, oh my God, now I'm afraid and now I'm spiraling and like this is what's not supposed to be happening. And so I'm spiraling. I'm like, I don't want to die on the plane. Like I thought this was going to be easy. I thought I was going to easily be at peace, blah, blah, blah. And I remember taking out a piece of paper and a pencil and I was writing, and this is where it doesn't feel like my words at all. It's not the words I would use or it just doesn't sound like me. But it felt like something was like taking over and it said to my friends and family, this all happened for good reason. Blessings and please believe. Especially like saying like blessings. That's not like a word that I would use. And it's just a whole thing. It didn't feel like me. It felt like maybe something else was like talking to me that, something like that. But I remember because I was panicking, I felt like I was dying imminently. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be at peace. I'm not at peace, blah, blah, blah. And I'm writing, um, the word believe and it's like a mess. Like I'm like shaking. I'm like scribbling it. I'm erasing it. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna know I was panicking. Like all of these thoughts were coming to me. I was like, this is just messy, blah blah blah. And it was a mess. Like you, there was like multiple lines of me trying to write believe, try to just finish the word, and then finally I'm like crossing it out. And I remember finally finishing the word believe, and I just looked at it and I was like, that'll do. And in that moment, I woke up in my bed, like I was like immediate, and I've never done this before, even from like a nightmare where I just like shot up from my bed like immediately. And it was just so like my heart was pounding. And I remember I remember the full moon was just like just like beaming into my room. And I was like, what just happened? Like I've never in my life had a dream or an experience like that was so intense and so lucid and just so like symbolic and meaningful. And so
Wow.
that's the whole story.
Wow. And again, you're because you just have a very calm way of speaking, but I'm imagining in the moment you are like true panic mode, right? I mean, you are
Yeah.
like you can't figure it out. You're full spiral.
Yep, fully spiraling. And it's like, and it's funny to think about in a way because like this experience has been so meaningful to me. It's always like I was 19 when I had this experience and I've been thinking about it at least once a day since it happened. It's just like always in the back of my mind, like what was that? And like even though like I technically failed the test or whatever it was supposed to be, um, not that I think it was supposed to be a test, but I think it was supposed to teach me something, you know what I mean? And I did technically not succeed, but it really did teach me so much, especially like, down the line when I started learning about lucid dreaming and stuff like that, just like the inner peace that you have to like have kind of honed and like this sense of uh you can't get too excited, you can't get too afraid, you can't get what like
Hmm.
it's what meditation is supposed to teach everybody. It's just like that inner solid sense of peace, you know what I mean? So and to me it's also so interesting because it was just like the concept of death and like it was a menstruation ceremony and that is like I don't know, it was all very symbolic to me.
Has anything else happened since then, or have you tried to do this again and speak to this feminine energy again? Have you seen the male energy again?
So she has been in her energy has shown up in my dreams quite a few times and she's always invisible, but I'm like, oh, she's here. And it's usually when I become lucid or I'm having a nightmare and she's there and she's like, and she always is bestowing some type of wisdom. Um, so I remember like this is kind of wacky and a little I- like I never try to like conclude anything any which way. I don't know if that holds me back or if it keeps me grounded. Like again, I have such a strong skeptic mind. Um, while at the same time I have such a disposition to these topics. So it's like a constant battle. But anyway, like I remember I want to say this was before this experience. I remember I was learning about like the concept of past lives. I was probably like 18, 17 or 18. And it was kind of casual, but I was just like, I read that you can like do a meditation before bed and you can ask your subconscious for like to give you information about a past life. And again, no expectation. I did like a little meditation before bed and I had and to tell me about what my past life was or anything that's important that I should know about. And I recall I had a terrible nightmare. I was in a cave. I was a boy in this one. I was a little boy and I was being like held up and like paraded into this cave and there were these men with torches and stuff like this. And um they were gonna spare me in my right in my solar plexus, which I have problems. So that's like a symptom that I have with I have like pain in that area when I have my little episodes. But anyway, and I remember it felt so real and it was so vivid. And it almost felt like a sacrifice of some sort. And I've done some like research about like young boys being sacrificed in like certain cultures or whatever. Um, And it felt so real. And I just remember my thought process being like, why would they do this? They should be protecting me. Like I'm just a little kid. Like the thought process was so heavy and so like traumatic in this dream. And I was like, why would they do that? And I was just like, oh, and I'm like crouching. And this was like my solar plexus was so tense. And I remember just the feminine presence is there, like behind the crowds. And she's like, just let go, just let it go. And then finally, I just like let go, and I woke up into a whole different body. It was weird. It was, but I don't know what to say or think about that. Like again, I struggle with things that can't be proven, but that was like a meaningful dream that I had where this feminine presence, because again, it was all men. And suddenly I became aware of her and she was like, just let go because like it's happening type of thing. Um, but yeah, and like she's shown up in a few other dreams, and it's always pretty distinct.
Wow. Wonder if she's just your like specific guide, or she's you, right? And she's like
Right.
trying to show you, like, I don't know, but that's fascinating to think about.
I know.
Um,
I don't know, but I like honor that presence, when it shows up. Like I'm like, she keeps showing up, so I'll pay attention.
maybe try not to view it as you passed or failed. I think that
Yeah.
probably it affected you and you remember it, and I'm sure there are decisions you've made now from that experience that you don't even realize,
Hmm.
um, because you
Oh,
went through that experience.
absolutely. Like anytime I want to be avoidant and not like I think about that. And sometimes
Yeah.
I listen to it, sometimes I don't, but it is definitely like a guiding it's an experience that I definitely reflect on a lot and it informs decisions that I make and I still sometimes ignore my own intuition and stuff like that, but it won't leave. It's something I still think about.
Hmm. So what is are you do you think that most women have this kind of or should attempt a vision quest, or sit down and spend some time with themselves on the first day of their period, or
That's what
what is
I would love so that's another reason why I want people to like hear this story. Because I would be so fascinated to hear from other women. Like you don't necessarily come across this like idea so often, you know what I mean? That like, oh, it's a spiritually powerful time to
no.
dream or even have like a vivid dream or like an intuitive hunch or something like that. Um, so well, I guess because this is an old like an ancient ceremony that so many cultures were aware of or are aware of, I should say. I shouldn't use past tense, but um they obviously knew that there was something to this and that we should be paying attention to it. And I also recall coming across the idea that like we all have masculine and feminine
Hmm.
energy and I think the premise behind this practice is that women are very they're on like one end of the spectrum. They're at their very height of I think let's call it yin energy, so very inward and very reflective. Um And within these teachings, these Native American teachings, I even read that it's like a counterclockwise energy. So women in these cultures, they weren't even like allowed, let's say, like to be present during other ceremonies that were more like assertive or yang or
Hmm.
masculine. You know what I mean? Because they can kind of like clash with each other. So if you're intending to have a ceremony that is very yin, you want to avoid for your own sake and for other I don't know, maybe other people's sake, I don't know. Um, just avoid the opposite end of the spectrum. So I think it's interesting that you can hone in to these different energies for women specifically during this time of the month and like the masculine energy is supposed to be very uh clockwise. So if you can imagine you're trying to like really go inward and have this type of experience, like you don't want to be clashing with the opposite, the yang energy. I don't know, that's my understanding of it. Like it's a genuinely like an energetic shift that I think we experience. And I'd be so curious to learn about what the male counterpart to this is,
Mm.
Like what kind of I haven't done my research, but like I wonder what the masculine counterpart is to this type of ceremony, Like or what kind of results might you get and like when do you do it or whatever. I'd be very curious to know about that.
It's probably on the side of like not ejaculating, right? Like
I've
in
heard
that,
things like that.
like I
Yeah.
would say that would probably be the maybe not. Um, it's fascinating, but like I'm just like my own wife, right? It's like it's crazy. Like she has to go to work, and she's like there's no time on these moments, and every time it's like she also it can be painful for her too, and it's like yeah, I think about it. I was like, wow, I have no clue, right? Just being an ignorant guy, like I, I don't know what that's like to have to just like
Yeah.
go to work and have to, and that's crazy to think about, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like guys are big babies. Like, if I experience the same thing she probably feels and I'm having to work, I'm like, oh man, I'm calling it all off. I'm calling the whole day off. I'm not
Yeah.
doing this. This is crazy.
Right. And we're
And
just so conditioned to be like okay with ignoring our bodies. And I do think it creates like a disconnect from our,
mhm,
even our mind, like the body mind connection and everything. Cause like when you're constantly overriding your body's cues, like maybe we should like take it easy today. And you're like, nope, gotta go to work. And I get it. Like it's really
mhm.
hard to find the time. But I'm hoping to at least plant seeds for women who maybe things will, even if it's one person, like maybe on someone's cycle, they'll be able to find the time. And I'd be so fascinated to talk to more women about this too. Um,
How has it shifted your, I guess your, because that was when you were 19, you said? And you're, so that was, so how's that shifted, I guess, your monthly cycles yourself? I mean, does it change? Are you
um,
pretty aware when you're
no,
to spend time with
not
yourself?
always.
Okay.
But so it's always been like, okay, I want to make this like a regular practice, but then it becomes too difficult to do so. Um, but it's definitely given me the knowledge that this is something I honestly should be doing more often when I can find the time. And actually, the past year and a half, I've been, well, longer than that now. I just moved back from Saudi Arabia, believe it or not. I was there for my husband's work, and I didn't have to work during that time. We were there for a year and a half. And because I didn't have to work, I was like, okay, I'm gonna really like lean into this. Um, so I was able to try this a few more times, and where I was able to completely isolate. Um, it didn't, it, nothing ever felt like the first time, I'll say. And I think it was just because we were in a small villa and I could always kind of hear him too. Like, it wasn't
Hmm.
totally sensory deprived or whatever. But each time I've done this, I had a lucid dream where I'm like, I'm, and I'm progressing on this skill because I do see it as a skill.
Hmm.
But like I said, I have been practicing lucid dreaming a lot, especially while I was in Saudi. But to me, it's like no coincidence that each time I was having this like isolating,
Hmm.
it works, you really tune into your dream space and you're able to control it and you're able to fly and you're able to do things. Like I'm at the point in lucid dreaming where I can I'm almost like I'm flying and I'm almost able to summon a portal, but I become too afraid. Like every time it happens, I'm like vibrating, I'm spiraling, like I'm like it's all happening. But then I'm like, okay, like I end up getting too nervous. And then when it happens too, and I'm like, okay, let's ask for a portal now. And I'm like always a little bit hesitant. I'm super afraid of heights in real life. So when I'm doing this, I'm usually like floating in the sky. And I'm like already like, oh my God, okay, like don't look down. I'm like, okay. And I'm looking up and I'm like, let's summon a portal. And then like I start spinning and vibrating. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I end up just like waking up in my bed.
I gotta be honest, it's scary. And like the out of body stuff is freaky. I don't think I've made a ton of progress on my fear, if I think about it. It's scary. I haven't had a lot of time to practice. Uh, just I have a 1-year-old and she's been
I can
quite the
only
little pickle, that little girl.
I could only imagine. I don't have any kids, so like I do feel
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's different.
privilege is the right word, but I have the time to
Mhm.
practice a little bit.
Yeah, but it's still scary, and it's yeah, so cool though. I think to your point though, I haven't heard a lot of women talk about how there's this opportunity. You've heard about like moon phases and stuff, but that during your cycle there's an opportunity, and I think that'd be cool for someone who's unaware to be like, oh, maybe that's a good time for me to attempt this and see what happens. Maybe they're 10 times more likely to do it, maybe not,
That's
but it
what
would
it
be.
feels like. Exactly. And I
Mhm,
think anybody's capable of it at any time. Like if, you put in the practice and you're meditating and you're doing all this stuff. But like when I was not expecting this to happen the first when it happened. So so I wasn't practicing for like a OBE or a lucid dream or anything like that. It just happened. So I'm like, I think that if people are interested in lucid dreaming or OBEs or whatever, I think that is the time if you're a woman to try it. I think you're more likely to have one. And I do think there's science behind it too.
So what can they look up as well if they wanted to know more about just the Native American, I guess, process around it? I mean, or is it Vision
So
Quest is what you would
I
Google?
would type in Moon Time Lodge or Moon Lodge and
Okay.
definitely take the advice and the wisdom from the people who, know best. And that's like Native American societies. I know that the Anishinaabe, the Mohawk, the Lakota, so many different tribes have like a version of this. Even I think Native Hawaiian cultures are aware of this type of practice. So it's pretty widespread across different locations too. So I find that to be interesting. And I think it's like no coincidence that in other settings of the world where it's like shameful, you know what I mean? Like when you try to dampen a certain type of power, I think one of the way you can do that is by shrouding it in shame or embarrassment or so, you know what I mean? Like there are these menstrual taboos across the world where it's like, oh, you're unclean, you're dirty, blah blah blah. It's like,
Insane.
you know what I mean?
No, that's insane. That's insane. No, that's really really insane. No, I think you're right. Right. I mean, there's a lot of that's the best way to do it. Put a little shame on someone, and they go, oh, they don't want to talk
Yeah,
about it. They don't. You lose your power. You think that it's like this gross thing when it's just a totally unnatural. Obviously, I'm all for it because I got two girls and I got
yeah,
like I'm like this is crazy that people feel that
right.
way. It's nuts. It's insane. Um, I love it. I think it's actually a really really cool message, and we haven't talked about it on this channel, and so I was excited when you reached out. I was like, yeah, 100%. Let's talk about this.
And I don't
So
hear about it much besides like in these, if you're researching different ceremonies, it's like like I said, I've listened to quite a few OBE stories and stuff like that. Um, and it's just hard to come across this like very specific
mhm.
teaching. So yeah, I just want more people to know about it. Just like I want to plant the seed and hopefully more women can try it when they find the time.
I love it. I think what I'll probably do is I will do my best to do a little research too, or if you have anything, maybe you could send it over to me. Anything that you've researched that you really like, and I can include it in the show notes, just so
Definitely. And
if someone's listening.
for sure, I definitely have some sources that I've, been reading and all that stuff. So I'll find all that.
Okay, I love that. Well, a fascinating story, Gina.
Yeah.
Um, and it
Thank
sounds
you.
like it was a big moment in your life. To think about it every day is obviously a big moment, and so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to hear like what comes next for you. I mean, I think it's not over. You sounds like you have a pretty strong intuition, and you're in touch with your guide or whoever that is.
I know,
That is
whoever
kind
she
of with
is.
you, and so that's kind of
Uh,
cool. I'm
yeah.
jealous.
I would suggest too. So it's funny because I actually remember the exact date. It was October 16th, 2024 that I started like consciously trying to lucid dream. And I just wanted to suggest this for you because I know I see lucid dreaming and OBEs kind of like within the same family. I think it's easy to transition into both. Um, so what started doing was and everybody says it, like dream journal is so important. But what I was also doing every day was, the Gateway tapes by Monroe? Yeah, everybody talks about them. So I found them on YouTube. They're just willy-nilly on YouTube. Okay. So you listen to them?
Yeah, so like I think that was the very, very, very first thing I did. I would at that time, my first daughter was born, so I think I got through I don't think I got through all of them, but I remember trying to go into focus, right? It had me like envision my little chest and walking out to the water and like or it had you come up with your own like version of that. So I had my version of that. I don't think I made it through all of them, but I've heard so many good things about people who say
Okay.
they get through the whole program.
Yeah. So that like I started doing my dream journal and doing those tapes on the very same day. And um I like the first day I did the tapes, that night I had a lucid dream. And mind you, like because I'm so afraid of like not that I'm so afraid, I shouldn't say that, but like I've always been fascinated with OBEs since that experience,
Hmm.
although I didn't have the word for it. But whenever I heard of like astral projection, that always scared me as a concept. And I don't know why, because I think I've heard like, oh, you can experience some like pretty crazy things. So when I set the intention um to like I know that the Monroe tapes are supposed to guide you to have an OBE, but I'm like, I'm not ready for that, even though like I would somewhat classify my experience as one.
Hmm.
Um, I was just like, I need to stay grounded and I just want to learn how to lucid dream. And then if that happens again, that happens. But I wanted to work on my fare. So I wanted to take it really slow, step by step, and just lucid dream. And we're not doing anything crazy. And it just feels more accessible when, taking that approach. Um, so but what I was also doing, I was doing yoga nidra at night. And there's a channel that I really love. And it's actually yoga nidra for astral projection. Her name is Rosalie. She's
Okay.
great. And she's really good at getting you to like shut down the body. But like as I'm doing this type of thing, I'm always like not astral projection, lucid dreaming. This is a yoga nidra for lucid dreaming, and like that's really like just so like again, so it's more accessible, it's more grounding, and it's not so scary. Um, so that's what I was doing, and I think by doing the yoga nidra, it strengthens your focus 10. You know what I mean? And then, which is what you build on with all the different focuses. So I was doing 2 meditations a day. I was doing a half hour of the Gateway tapes and a half hour of the Yoga Nidra by Rosalie. And yeah, I really felt like it was feeding into each other. It was really deepening the practice.
Oh, I love that. Can you send that to me
For
when you
sure.
can?
Yeah,
I would love
I'd
to
be
see
happy
that.
to.
No, I know I'm getting closer. It's a mix of like life and babies and work, and so
Yeah.
I think I'll get there when I get there. I'm also like I've been super excited about the podcast and having good conversation, so that's kind of scratched my itch a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, However, I do think next year, for some reason, next year feels right to me to like really start like, okay. And we're doing that in the Discord. So I'm starting like every Sunday we're gonna start attempting it. So this Sunday I'm gonna give it a shot. And just try to set time for it because I think that's really all it is. It's like you gotta set a little time for it. Um I the unique
You've had an experience?
I've had two.
Okay. Yeah,
I
that's a
think I think the unique thing on my end that I'm exposed to all the time is a lot of different like opinions and energies and just from doing this, and it does affect me, and I have to work on that, right? That's something I have to like really work on, like not letting that happen because I get some very strong personalities who swear this is what's going on and the next person swears totally off. Sometimes I have these conversations in the same day, right? And I'm like, okay,
busy.
I gotta space this out or something because um it can kind of get intense, right? And as someone who's genuinely curious of like what's going on and what should I be focusing on? I think I have to be mindful of that. And so, yeah, I've been just not in the zone to try it, right? Like that's just been my honest answer. A lot of it is sleep though related. I haven't been sleeping very good, but I think I'll get there. Like anything, it'll hit me and I'll be like, okay, I want to
I
try
think you
again, and then
will.
I'll
And
then I'll try again.
sometimes like having high expectations can kind of like I don't know why it's like so annoying, but it's true. It's like you have to try, you have to put in the effort, but not too hard. Like again, it's like that balance that's so hard. That inner peace, and that inner balance that's like forever elusive for whatever reason. But I think I don't know. I think it's best to just simplify it as much as possible. You know what I mean? I know you said you have like so many ideas and other people's experiences in in your like fields, but and that will affect um that will for sure affect the experience. But like I don't know, that's always my go-to is like just simplify the the practice as much as possible. It's just you.
It's good
You know
advice.
what I mean? It's just you. You and your body and like your field. And yeah, like I know fear comes up a lot and it's like you just have to know that you can face it. Just like even if it feels too scary or too heavy, you almost have to be like delusionally confident.
Hmm.
And I shouldn't say delusionally, but it's like, that's kind of what it feels like when you're up against one of your deepest fears or whatever. You're just like,
I like what you said too about lucid dreams being more accessible. I think that's real, right? Because in out of body, it is like it's almost self-induced a lot of times, and
Mhm.
so it doesn't have to be. But mine were like I was trying to do it right, and then you get that vibration stage, and it's really intense, like it's gnarly. Um, a lucid dream, like I like the idea of a dream journal, and then like the last gentleman I had on, I thought his advice was brilliant, and it was about having a dream journal, but a little bit more in depth on what you're journaling. But he uses that to just get in the habit of asking himself or asking yourself certain things, which will wake you up in dreams more. And I like that because we're dreaming every single night, right? And so that does feel like an easy transition. And sometimes if you're in the loopy dream world, it feels a little bit safer for some reason than when like the idea of me turning around and seeing my body, like
yeah,
that seems like on another level kind of like of
that
intense. Like, oh.
exactly. And if you have any level of fear of doing that, or even any level of skepticism, like, oh, okay, is this real? It's gonna be like, I feel like that's gonna like hold you down. Whereas like a lucid dream, like we know that these happen and that they're real. So
Hmm.
it's just more grounded in what we can prove. I know that's like the skeptic in me, but like believe me, I believe people when they have these experiences. Like I've
Hmm.
experienced something very similar to these. But yeah, I just need to make it more accessible to the challenges my own brain creates. And like I've had lucid dreams where I'm walking around my house at the same time of day, like I'm looking in the mirror, but I'm not looking at my body. I won't go to my body, but I'll look in the mirror. And I'm just like, it's just like to me, I'm like, it feels like an OBE, but I'm like, I will stay there longer if I'm like, oh, it's a dream. Like, oh, let's go outside and fly around. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
that
I do
works
know
for
what you
me.
mean.
And I hear all the time that you can have an OBE from a lucid dream.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, I've heard it sounds like there's no one way, I'll tell you that. It sounds like there's a lot of different ways and you can go from a dream to an out of body in this world. You can go from this world to opening a portal and going into some other. It it's something I will do, Gina, no doubt. Like I'm super confident that I will be pursuing this. I'm I'm just balancing, I think, life and just the natural timing of things. But that's really all it is. There are things that we all are like more attracted to. Definitely mine is out of body experience. Like this world, I really do feel like attracted to it. And then probably the other is you said it earlier, like, but as above, so below, as within, so without. Like this whole concept of your thoughts become things. And I love it. Like the my whole life I've been kind of into the law of attraction and reality transurfing and like all the different elements of it. Cause who wouldn't want that to be true? First off, like I don't know a single soul who wouldn't want that to be real. And I think there's something to it. And I think I feel passionate about that arena as well. And I think many of us are stuck in these habits and these thoughts. So I will start focusing on that a little bit more too. And just trying to come up with my own ways to break it down that hopefully can help other people. Cause I've had some experiences in my life that I swear to you, I will attribute to being intentional and meditating in the morning and thinking about certain things and not just thinking it, but feeling it and all the things that go
Mhm.
along with it. And these things have happened. And when one of those things happens, it just reinforces the whole thing. And you go,
Oh, yeah.
wow, what
Yep.
else is possible?
I know exactly what
So
you
I
mean.
love that subject.
Yeah, and I think the physical world is more like it's just slower to manifest things, but just by nature, just that maybe the density of things, but when you're in a lucid dream or OBE, things just like happen. So I feel like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's more immediate in a different state of mind or a different realm or whatever you want to call it. So it's like like that. I don't know. I think that's why meditation is so important, to just kind of like quiet the monkey mind and like really focus on what you're trying to manifest or experience.
Mhm. And you have to be very careful it's not coming from an egoic place.
For
That's one of the
sure.
big things because there are things in our life that I think we are uh there's like you said, it's kind of like a mission, right? In your in your own experience, it was like there was a mission in life. I think we have these things that we're trying to do more or less. Sometimes it's just to experience, that's part of it. But and so if you're trying to manifest things that aren't really aligned with that, I think that I do think there'll be some blocks. I'm sure if you kept pushing and like were like really stubborn about it, you might force your way into that. But I don't think that that's in your best interest sometimes to get the things that we want.
Right.
Definitely, I think you got to
Exactly.
analyze that.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. Totally agree.
well, I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, I
Oh,
really,
my
really appreciate you
pleasure.
reaching out.
Thank you for giving me
It's
the
my favorite. I
opportunity.
love, yeah, no problem. No problem. I think a lot of women need to hear this, and I'm excited to post it. And hopefully we get some comments, right, of other women being like, "Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, this has been my truth too." I would
that's
love
my
that.
main, like, not my hope. I'm like, no expectations, but I just wanna hear from, other women. I wanna see if this is happening. You know what I mean?
It's for sure happening. For
Yeah,
sure. For sure. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on. I know you said you were a little bit nervous, but I think you
I
did amazing.
was. But yeah,
Um,
no, thank you. You made me feel super comfortable, so I appreciate your
yeah, no
energy and all
worries.
that. And I also wanna congratulate you on the
No.
channel. You're obviously doing so well, especially for a new channel. So, yeah, I think it's
Oh,
definitely the energy you bring to it. So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I think you'll get there full time for
thank
sure.
you. I think so too. I think I need to be patient. I need to let things unravel. But I can tell you I do love it. I do enjoy talking to people, and I love the comments and the emails. That's when we talk about visualizing and things. I've been doing that for the last 18 months, and it's so fun to see them come in where like an episode helps someone out or just that's cool. Like that
That's
part like
amazing.
lights you up on
Well,
a different level. And so I enjoy it.
and real quick, I just want to say, like, all this stuff is fun. You know what I mean? Like inner exploration, like dreaming and what OBEs, whatever, spiritual experiences. But like, it's all about bringing it down to earth too. You know what I mean? And like doing something tangible, and that is just as meaningful and important. So
If you had to boil it down to a couple of things, I think it's about the experience, and that could be said as being present, right? Like I do think we
mhm,
we came here to enjoy it, and it's very rare, from what I know, that like you are attracted to your frequency, and here is a very unique place because you're in mix with all kinds of different levels of people and energies, and it's just a unique experience. And I do think, myself included, we get caught up in trying to understand the why, right? When it's like, I think you're just supposed to enjoy it. That's part of it. I
absolutely.
think that love is definitely the the end goal. That is what it's about. And then I think service. I think service is
Absolutely.
the other thing that's in the mix for sure. Helping others, serving
Absolutely.
others.
Couldn't
So,
agree more.
all right, Gina. Well, I will let you know when this goes live. I'm actually a little more caught up than I was in October. It was like taking me 2 months to release episodes, so we're a little more caught up. So hopefully
All
by
right.
like end of month, I'll get this out. But I'm excited.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. I'll
Thank
keep
you
you
so
posted.
much, Seggy. It was great talking to you.
You are welcome.
All
All right,
right.
Gina. Cheers.
Take care.